Greetings and welcome to a Prayerful Pause. I'm Nancy Woodworth-Hill and amongst other things, a spiritual director. Today we will look at a practice called Press the Pause button. Now, have you ever flipped your lid when someone pressed that big red button that we all carry on our chests? What happens is that emotions are triggered and we go from stimulus to response very quickly. And we often act against our own values and strengths. It doesn't take long to do. The gap between stimulus and flipping lids has been measured at 1/4 of a second. And this gap has been called the choice point. So when our buttons are pushed and we keep going with the flow, adrenaline courses through our body. We lose 50% of our brain function because the blood is being diverted to our muscles so we can better go into fight or flight mode, which is a function of our older brain parts. So it's easy to be swept away. We often don't realize that we have a choice that we can make, let alone how to make a choice consistent with our values and strengths. The Austrian neurologist, psychologist, and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl wrote that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So I'm going to introduce a model with 4 steps to help us recognize and enter this choice point with greater awareness. So here's the connection with spirituality. It's about awareness. And to act more consistently with our best selves. So it's called the BACK model, B-A-C-K, BACK, which helps us to activate the other side of what gets pushed, the pause button. So critical to the success of this model is the ability to be aware of your body and to the very early signs that that big red button has been activated. So perhaps there's a familiar scrunching in your stomach. What's happening with your shoulders? Are they tightening? What about your head, your jaw, your neck, other parts of your body, fists? Are there other signs that are familiar to you? This is what you'll need to become aware of. So attending to your body, it'll be easier to recognize the moment when that button has been activated. Remember, there's only 1/4 of a second in which it's possible to choose to press the pause button. Bring the lid flipping down and act according to your best self. So here's the steps. The model is called the BACK model, B-A-C-K. Each of these letters stands for a word in a 4-step process to press the pause button. 1. B, breathe. Take 2 cycles of what's called 7-11 breathing. Count 7 on the inhale and 11 on the exhale. So it makes the exhale longer than the inhale. Start this as soon as there's awareness that the body is beginning to click into fight or flight mode. This type of breathing is physically calming. 2. Acknowledge. The A of back. Acknowledge. Acknowledge that I'm having the thought that you shouldn't have cut in front of me. I'd rather not that happen. Acknowledge your thoughts, feelings. So you could think of a car cutting in front of you in traffic, an unreasonable customer, a family member, or a friend doing something, any situation in which that big red button has been pushed and the lid is beginning to flip up. By acknowledging the thought, one is able to allow it to dissipate rather than to try to ignore it or push away that kind of thought, which actually keeps them in place much longer because you're continuously going over the story, which enlarges the emotions. 3, the C, choose. What would your best self do based on your strengths and your values? What's important to you? Find 1 or 2 words. Perhaps something like calm, kindness, compassion, flexibility, gentleness, integrity, moderation, patience, tact, tolerance. So have some sense of awareness of your strengths, your values, how you name them. And finally, 4th step, K, kick into action. Step into your choice with confidence for the next 10 minutes. This is akin to fake it until you make it. Step into that choice and act consistently with your values. It's really critical in this whole process to be aware of your body, because if you aren't, you will not be aware of your choice point, and that big red button will continue to blare, push me. The capacity to press the pause button is life-changing. So let's review these 4 steps. 1, breathe. A 7-11 pattern for physical calm. 2, acknowledge. Acknowledge your thoughts, and by doing so, allow them to dissipate. C, 3rd step, choose. Choose an action based on your best values, your strengths. And 4, kick into action, K. Step into your choice for 10 minutes. Remember, practicing body awareness is crucial. This will change your life. If this video has been helpful to you, please consider liking and sharing it. Go in peace.